Welcome to the Back to Me podcast, where we help multicultural incoming freshman women and men manage their entire college experience throughout post-graduation to successfully transition into entrepreneurship and corporate workspaces as new hires.
Back to me. Oh, I turned it around. I'm back to me. I finally figured it out. I'm back to me. So when you think you have nothing, back to me. I go back to me. Yeah, I'm back to me.
Hello, everyone. It's your host, Yoli Tamu. This Financial Literacy Month has truly been inspiring our students to take their financial futures to the next level. Our Money Masterclass series continues with Eric Clay, financial well-being coach at Operation Hope, who turned his own student credit struggles into a mission, teaching families how to build credit health that lasts. Mr. Clay reveals how credit tells your life story and breaks down the 65% revolving versus installment credit strategy. So discover why skipping rent builders for smart, revolving credit beats debt traps every time. Plus, tap into Operation Hope's free services for budget plans that include purchases you already love and business plans for young entrepreneurs. Enjoy. I was looking for some support in credit, and I thought about back in the day, I was working with Operation Hope, and I said, let me just see what Operation Hope is up to. And this man answered the phone. He is the financial well-being coach at Operation Hope on the campus, actually, of Compton College. He is Eric Clay. How are you? Thank you for being with us.
I'm good. Oh, wonderful being here. And thank you for having me, Jolie. I appreciate the platform and I look forward to our conversation.
Absolutely. Thank you for saying yes. We always get so excited when you guys say yes because you're busy and we appreciate you. We definitely appreciate you.
Never too busy to drop the knowledge. Never.
I love it. And you're over there on Compton College campus. So you're over there serving students already.
Yes, I've been at Compton College for 10 years. I've been in Operation Hope for 20 plus. So
wow.
Love what I do.
You've been on that campus for 10 years?
Yes.
Oh my goodness. Had no idea. Okay. So we always open with our motivations, and I'd love to know what motivated you to even start serving college students to help them take control of their financial future.
Oh, that's a great question. It comes twofold. I'm going to be very transparent. I'll be 63 in June in a month and a half. So I've lived about 4 different lives.
Okay.
When I was coming up, we didn't understand the financial literacy about getting credit cards and how that worked. I just signed up for these credit cards and they came in the mail. I didn't even have a job. I'm in school. So needless to say, my credit life started out crazy. I got into real estate, and in real estate, I was doing loans, but I was looking at credit in a different aspect. I was looking at credit as a yes or no for qualifying for a purchase of a home, or a refinance of a home. But I never once looked at a credit report as, is it telling a story about life? Back when I was doing real estate, you had to have perfect credit. But then I got into what was called less than perfect credit. But that was kind of like a game. We could talk about it a whole nother time. And then I got to Operation Hope, where I actually started looking at credit as a story and how to fix, how to build. It's never too late to start your credit if you have credit or if you're establishing credit. So I went back. I'm a single parent. And when my son went to school, I had the aha moment of everything. My son's 8 years old. Well, he was 8 at the time, I should say that. Let me preface that. He was 8 years old, and we would get breakfast would be a donut. I know, bad dad, just whatever.
Sugar.
So one morning the parking lot was full. I gave my son a $5 bill to go get a 79-cent donut. The little dude comes back, jumps in the car with the donut. I just look at him. I'm like, man, I gave you a $5 bill. Even if I gave you a $1 bill, I didn't teach you about tipping. Go get my change. So he runs back, gets the change. And my frustration went with him first. And then it switched to the people who work there, knowing, why would you let him leave? But I figured my son just grabbed a bag and went. And then the frustration came to me. I didn't realize that my son didn't know the difference between a $1 bill and a $5 bill because I thought they was teaching that in school. Either he wasn't listening or he didn't know. I teach this. So I'm like, I don't come home and talk about it with my kid. That's ridiculous. So that's what my aha moment was, to get motivated, reach back, teach one so they can teach and teach. So Right now, my son's 27 years old. He has close to an 800 credit score, and he knows about budgeting. So we went forward, and his friends as well. I'm the one, if they're playing PlayStation, I'm like, hey, you guys get credit? And they're like, my mom says I don't need credit. I'm like, your mom's wrong. Have her call me, and we sit down and we talk about credit. So I'm that kind of guy.
That's good. That's good you're having that conversation because there are two conversations. One is no, don't mess with credit because it's going to hurt you and it's a place that you don't want to be. And then the other people are saying, yeah, get you at least one credit card.
Absolutely.
I mean, when you hit the college campus, the tables are there, right? All the credit companies are waiting for you.
It's a little different now, so it's not as easy as it was. But if you are a college student, yes, there are some preferred credit cards that we can talk about later in the podcast.
All right. So now when we think about credit cards and they come with all their challenges, the discipline that you need, what do you think are some of the challenges that you see students are having with credit? And what simple steps, I guess, what are some first steps that they can take to just start building or just improving the credit that they may already have?
First of all, you have to establish your credit. Okay. If you go, say, if you're a student or you don't have any credit, if you go to a Macy's or you go to a Nordstrom's or a Best Buy, they're going to deny you because you don't have enough credit. You don't have any credit. So one of the biggest things that I champion for is to have the student establish their own credit. There are parents who will put their children on as an authorized user, meaning I'm going to give you my credit. You can't really use the credit card per se, but I'm going to put it as if you had the credit. But a lender down the line will know that's an authorized user, so that's not really that person. I encourage the student to get a student credit card. There's two of them that are okay. Discover IT is a pretty good credit card to start out with. As long as you use your student ID email, then you'll pretty much get it because it's not credit score driven. It's 6 months with interest free, meaning there's no interest on what you charge, and they have a little bit of rewards, cash back on the credit card. I love that credit card. That's what my son started out with. You maintain that right. The other credit cards will follow, like the Pied Piper. Okay. That's how we started. And Capital One has one as well. If you're banking with Chase or Wells Fargo or B of A, you can talk to your banker to see if they have a student credit card available. Once you get that student credit card, then you're in the game. And the biggest challenge is you don't know that if you're too close to your limit, even if you're paying your minimum payment on time, your credit score is going to come down. We call that credit utilization. Okay, so that's what the biggest challenges the students don't know, or they just think they can't get credit. And if they have credit, if they don't do well because life hit, then they feel it's over. But no, it's not over. Life is going to hit, and we're going to life first. We're going to take care of our credit second, and then we can always rebuild from there. So that's one of the biggest challenges is first to establish it and then know how to do it, know how to work it. So what you want to do is when you get that credit card, you want to use it and you want to leave a little balance. Now, Ms. Yola, you're going to hear different perspectives on credit. Folks say pay it off, use it, pay it off. But you're hitting an algorithm. When you're building, you want to show a history. And if you have a low balance against your limit, that's going to make that algorithm of the credit scoring system roll. I'm going to say this. There's two types of credit. There's revolving credit, which is your credit card debt. And there's installment credit, which is your student loans, your mortgages, your car notes, your personal loans. Anything with a fixed ending is a student loan. Now, I'm going to say this. 65% of your credit score is your revolving debt. That's a big piece of that pie. So I heard some colleagues say, hey, the mortgage is going to raise your credit score higher. I'm like, well, the mortgage is an installment and the 65% is not attached to that. So the math is the math. You can take a $200 secured credit card or a credit card and make your credit score go higher than a $200,000 mortgage. That's just the way it is, how it hits the algorithm. So this is my opinion, everybody. I stand on mine because I do this on a daily basis. I'm going to stand on mine. But right now, I'm up against AI, Snapchat, TikTok, YouTube, Google. Anybody can ask you, how are you going to raise your credit score? You're going to get all these back. But I stand on mine, and I'm not opposed to what anybody else says. I'm always learning in this, but this is what I see. This is what I go on. So 65% is your revolving debt. Let's get that revolving debt going, and everything else will be gravy.
That's fantastic. 65% is the revolving debt. That's good to hear. And then also that they can get a student card, not just a secured card. You don't have to go that route.
Right.
With the student ID, you can get your own credit. Wow.
Right. Absolutely. Now, if that didn't happen, then alternative would be to get a secure card. A secure card is when you put up your money and the institution gives you the platform of their credit on all three bureaus. There's three bureaus: TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian. So you're actually paying your money to be on that platform. And usually a secure card is going to go for about 12 months. If you work it right for 12 months, the lending institution will give you an unsecured card, raise the limit. If you had a little balance left on it, they give you that back, and now you're cooking. But if you manage that secure card right for about 3 months, your mailbox will change. You'll be getting offers from, you've been pre-qualified, pre-selected, pre-approved, because the creditors are saying, if you're paying for a credit card, I'm going to give you one for free so you can use my interest. And everybody on this call, interest is the game. That's the game. If you go to Macy's and you look the Macy's dead in the eye and you have cash in your hand, they're going to look you dead back in the eye and say, do you want to use your Macy's credit card? You're like, well, I'm giving you cash.
Right.
So we got to be careful. We'll give you 15% off if you use a Macy's credit card. So that's how the game goes.
Yeah. So, but this whole 65% for revolving. So to be practical, let's just say $100 limit, $65 spent on the card. That's the revolving place. So pay back 30 of it and put 20 on it. I mean, that's the place we're trying to stay in, that area.
But let's look at it from a whole. Let's look at the whole pot. So 35% is how much you have on your credit card, how much you pay on it. Okay, that's 65%. 15% is how long you've had your credit. 10% is the type of credit you have, revolving and installment. And then 10% is new credit, when you ask for credit and get credit. So that's the whole totality of the pie. Now, for the 65% to be activated properly, you want to keep your balance low. I heard you mention 30% you want to keep. So if your limit was $100, you want to keep your balance $30 or below. That's kind of like a myth. I talked to FICO myself. FICO is like less is best, which means 30% is a good threshold. Don't get me wrong, because you can pull that up on Google right now and let's say 30%, but 20% would be better. 10% would be better. You have a $100 limit and your balance is $10. That's going to activate that credit score higher than if you had $30 or if you had $50 on it. So these are the things. Less is best. I'm like, what do you mean less is best? But that's what I was heard. So it's kind of like a moving target, but keep less is best. When you're building credit, keep a little balance on that credit card. When you get to where you want to be, of course you want to zero them out, pay no interest. I don't spend anybody's money. $5 to you and me are going to be different. So I respect that. But I'm just saying, when you're building credit, you got to pay to play this game for a little bit. Got to know the rules.
So don't pay it off. Just pay it down.
Just pay it down. I know they go throw rocks at me right now. Folks are like, that's wrong. That's wrong. But I'm telling you, I stand on mine 100%.
That makes sense. That makes perfect sense. Okay, so you're talking about the game, the credit game, and you mentioned interest rates. So now can you break down some of the rules of the game? Are there 3 important things that students should understand about the credit? We kind of already hit that they need to understand to pay low.
Right. We understand what makes up the credit score. We hit on that. You want to understand the difference between revolving debt and installment debt. If you're going to start your credit life out, start your credit life out with the revolving debt. Okay? There's credit builders out there. There's self-lending. There's Chime. I already said there's 2 types of credit, revolving and installment. If I see something on a credit report that says open, I don't know what that means to me. It's not calculated. Now, I'm not saying it's not helping a little bit, but I'm trying to maximize the help we can. So a Chime account might be open or a self-lending might be open. You want it to really say revolving, and it must be reported to all 3 bureaus. Because if it's not reported to all 3 bureaus, you're running in place. And please, folks, if you're establishing your credit, do not add anything to your credit that doesn't have to be on your credit. So right now we have rent builders. Rent builders are something that can be added because you pay rent. Of course, you raise your credit because you're paying $2,000, $2,500 on rent. Put it on your credit report and raise your credit score. But you're putting debt on your credit report. Why would you do that? We don't want. And guess what it says? Open. What does that mean to me? That's meaning open. So be careful. They say, well, you want to get credit for paying your gas bill or your utilities. Add it to your credit. No. And last time I checked, they weren't reported to all 3 bureaus. So please watch the rent builders. Just go traditional. Get that credit card. And some folks say a store credit card is different than American Express or a MasterCard Visa. But when I look at revolving debt, the total at the top of the credit report is not differentiating what kind of credit card it is. It's just saying revolving versus installment. And they're taking that total revolving debt total limit, total balance, and coming up with that percentage, that credit utilization. And then the third thing would be, how long does negative information stay on your credit report? So negative information stays on your credit report 7 years from the first time it hits your credit report. So if you're 30 days late, it hasn't hit the credit report yet until you are 31 days late. So yes, you are going to get pinged by the creditor because you're late. So they're going to charge a fee. And if you were late, if you really forgot to pay your Macy's bill and you've been paying them on time and they give you that charge, call them up. They'll reverse it. Just say, hey, can you just reverse this? Most of the time, they will do that one time. You'll get that one-time shot where they will reverse that late charge. And they'll even take off the interest associated with that late charge that they charged you, that late fee, I should say. But you're not 30 days late until you're 30 days late. And then after you're 30 days late, that's when the clock starts ticking on the credit. Student loans, government loans do not fall off your credit report. Okay? That's Uncle Sam. All right. So be careful of that. And that's what I talk about here at the college. When a student is getting a student loan, they have to come talk to me. And I just let them know this is being put on your credit. As long as you're in school, you can be put in deferment. That means you don't have to pay on it. But after you graduate, you have 6 months before that student loan starts asking for that money. You want to have a conversation with your student loan servicer, be it Department of Education, and see about getting an income-driven repayment program that's going to fit your income so it's not too daunting. So some of these are some of the rules and tricks of the trade that I talk about here on campus.
This is good. I was just thinking about a couple things when you said, be careful of the rent builders because they're adding debt. Yeah, it's good that you're saying that. That's not good debt. You want that, like you said, that credit card debt is helpful because it's revolving.
Right.
That's so important to say that it goes back to the revolving credit, whereas that rent builders is not doing that. So thank you for saying that. And then also what stood out to me was when you talked about the due dates, the 31 day. Have you heard of this way of paying off your payments where you wait until the statement has completed and then you can charge on the card because it'll appear 45 days later as opposed to 30 days later? You've heard of that little trick?
I have not. That sounds like a TikTok trick to me. I don't know, but I'm not. No, let me tell you something. What I heard of, if your due date is May 5th, pay that puppy before May 5th or no later than May 5th. That's all I know.
Okay.
I've heard this, that you can split them up and it helps, but I don't see that in my algorithm. I'm not saying don't do it. Don't get me wrong, Miss Shirley. This is my opinion. And everybody has. I sit in the room with my colleagues who do credit. We debate a lot on techniques and tactics. But the reason why I'm so adamant about it is because I've been doing it. I ran your credit today and I ran it next month and I ran it 2 months later. Then I'm comparing apples to apples. I'm seeing it myself on what you did or didn't do, what hit, what didn't hit. And you lower, and I'm seeing scores go up. I'm seeing scores come down. And I try to create my own algorithm in my head based on this moving target because it's always moving with the three bureaus and what their pressure points are, what their hot points are. One bureau might not like a 30-day late. The other one might not like the limit to balance. So that's why you have mostly 3 different scores. And then you have different scoring systems. Real quick, there's 16 variations in the FICO scoring system. I teach on the FICO scoring system because that's what most lenders use. FICO simply stands for Fair Isaac, was created by William Fair Earl Isaac back in the 50s. Mid-50s. So we've come a long way. They sold the algorithm to the bank. Now, there's other scoring systems. There's Vantage scoring system, TransUnion, Equifax, Experian. They have their own scoring system. So there's different scoring systems. The most important scoring system that you're going to be worried about or concerned with is the one you are asking the lender for credit. Whatever they're using, that's the most important one. Okay. But mostly when you're asking for a home, when you're looking for a home, they're going to do what's called a tri-merge. They're going to put all 3 bureaus together. They're going to put the high score, low score, middle score, and they're going to run on that middle score. They're going to throw out the other 2. And that's the middle score. And some folks say, well, Experience always a middle score. No, that's not true. The middle score is a middle score wherever it falls. So just want to clarify that.
Okay. So pay before the 30 days.
Yes. Just yes.
Don't listen to me.
Keep the limits low. If you're running into a situation where you can't pay the bill, pick up the phone and call the creditor. Have a human being conversation. Go through all the automated prompts because we can't catch anybody anymore before we go to 5,000 prompts. And you're just sitting there saying, agent. Get it to an agent and see what they can do before it gets too late. All right. And if life happens, if you had the choice to eat or pay Sears, what are we going to do, Miss Yoli? We're going to eat or pay Sears?
We gotta eat.
We're going to eat. We're going to eat well. Okay. So that's life. Nobody knows what's going to happen. So credit is a luxury, but your credit score is not who you are as a person, point blank.
And it can always be fixed if needed.
Yes. Yes.
And improved. Okay. So now what about the students that are just feeling overwhelmed right now or just discouraged about their current financial situation because they are underwater or, they have abused their credit use? How can partnerships like Operation Hope empower them to move forward towards a financial freedom? Do you guys work hand in hand with students?
Absolutely. I just did a workshop last night with students, and we were talking about budgeting and savings. And really, you have to understand the budget and savings part before you even get to the credit. That's the most important thing. Understand the language money and how you are spending your money. One thing that we talk about is know what's coming in and know what's coming out on a totality. Not just what you're budgeting for rent, and your phone bill, and I'm talking about everything. I'm talking about your Starbucks. So what I do is I challenge the students to write down for 30 days what they spent on eating out and look at that budget. Now, it all goes back to understanding the language and how we were taught about money. You don't have to worship money, but we want to organize money. If you have an organized closet, it's easy to find things. But if you have money all over the place or stuff all over your closet, it's hard to find. So organize your money and then know what's coming in, know what's going out, give yourself some grace. The wants and needs is blurred because what I want, what I need, number one, I'm going to say this, Michelle, you have to take care of yourself.
Yeah.
Okay. If you're not taking care of yourself, then you can't take care of others. So what makes you go, you have to feed that as long as it's not an addiction. Feed what makes you go, makes you happy and keep moving, but put that in your budget. So budgeting is the key to woosawing and saying, okay, what did I do? Did I need that? Did I spend that? But that's up to the individual. It's not for me to sit across the table from a student and say, well, you know what? You shouldn't go to Taco Tuesdays every Tuesday because that might be their happiness. But if you're going to Taco Tuesday every Tuesday, budget for it. See what else you are spending money on that you can kind of make the adjustments. Hear what I'm saying? Make the adjustments to compensate for what you want to do on Taco Tuesday. So the overwhelm is just shutting it down. And even me as an adult, sometimes it's just like, what the heck is going on? But you just have to go back to basics. What's coming in? What's going out? What adjustments can I make? And make some goals attainable. Say I want to save $150 in the next 2 months. We'll break it down to how many. Is that going to be a week? Is that going to be every bi-weekly, every 3 weeks? I'm going to save. I try to say this, pay yourself first. If you have a job and gross income is everything you get before they take out taxes, before they take out your Social Security, unemployment, medical, 401k, all that, you bring home net. Net is what you want to try to take off the top, right off the rip. I'm going to save $10 every paycheck. I'm going to save $50. It sounds minimum, but you keep adding it up. And what you're doing is you're making a good habit of savings. Habits are hard to make. They're hard to create. Bad ones are easy, but the good ones, so and you automatically get in the habit of savings. You're watching that account grow. You're getting invested in that. And next thing you know, your wash and dryer break down. You need to spend that money, but you got in the habit of saving, so you're going to bring it back. Keep that habit going. So the short answer to your question is allow yourself grace, especially if you're in school. Understand money a little bit better. What we do at Operation Hope is we actually will go over budget with you. I sit down, I look at the credit report with you. We'll talk about strategies to improve that credit report. We'll talk about strategies to save, tips and tricks on budgeting and saving. And we do that. And we do that at no cost. So
wow.
It's really an amazing organization.
No cost. So now I too was a part of Operation Hope. That's how I kind of knew about you through Gail Lara. She was one person that was helping me with business.
Yes.
She's
beautiful.
Great. So do you all help students if they're, entrepreneurs, they're embarking on business as well? You help students in that way?
We love that. We love that. We want to start getting that small business mentality to that small business plan. that business plan. We have coaches that specialize in entrepreneur and working with business plan, marketing, understanding numbers, understanding how to start a business and what that entails. So we want small business streamers to be small business owners for sure. So we definitely have a component with. I don't do that personally. I did that here for about 2 years, but now we have somebody else who does that. I still will dabble, but I have colleagues that definitely specialize in that and who will help individuals if they're interested in starting a small business. I mean, we have the cosmetology school here, so you might want to be an esthetician. You might want to own your own shop. You want to know what the look and feel is that, what the books are, how to pay folks. So yeah, absolutely.
Fantastic. So this has been great, and I appreciate you. My goodness, you just ran us through. We had a nice little masterclass in credit.
Yes. I mean, it's short, it's sweet. And once again, I wanted to say this is my opinion. I don't knock anybody I don't do credit repair. Credit repair is you're paying somebody. That's for profit, nonprofit. As we spoke earlier off camera, Miss Yoli, I do credit health. I want your credit health to be better. I want your credit narrative to shine. Even though it's not who you are as a person, we want to make sure when you sit down, when you're asking for a car loan or you're looking to buy a piece of property or even rent, in some jobs, if you're looking at your credit, you want your credit narrative to shine, but things happen in life. I can look at a credit report and know right away something happened in 2021, which was the pandemic. I can see right there that bills didn't get paid. That's not necessarily a bad reflection on you. It's just life hit. But look where I am now. Remember this, credit works on what have you done for me lately? Not what have you done for me 2 years ago, 3 years ago. That's the history. We want to know what you're doing now. So if your history is kind of challenged, show us what you're doing now, and that way is moving toward the right direction. Credit scores on a FICO scoring system run from 300 to 850. You want to be in the sevens and above. Not saying you can't get a loan in the sixes, but the lower the credit score, the higher the interest rate. The higher the interest rate, the higher the payments. So you want the higher interest rate for the lower payments, and that's what you're going for. Listen, if life hit, give yourself some grace. We can do this. All right? That's how I look at it.
Wow. And everybody can get at least one student credit card, at least one.
That's the goal. If you use it right, that one, you use it right, the others will come. Because I did have my son go to Macy's first without doing it. Macy's is like, kick rocks. You don't even have any credit. Then he got a student credit card, did that right, his Discover card. Then he went to Macy's. Then he went to Best Buy. Then I'm like, he's like, wow, Dad, this is real. I'm like, I told you this is real. Meantime, my mom, who was raised in the 50s and the 40s, was telling me I'm teaching my son wrong. Now, you can't argue with Mom. I'm like, well, Mom, it's different thinking right now. This is a different, FICO score wasn't even back then. But anyway.
Yeah.
So I showed her.
You showed her, and now she's listening.
I showed my mom. All I can do is show her. I can do short. I'm like, okay, Mom, this is where we're starting. I'm going to show you your grandson's credit report right now. I'm going to show you what happened. I'm going to show you your score. And she's like, okay. And she was like, animate. You're teaching him wrong. He needs to cut him up. He needs to,
get rid of them cards.
15% of your credit score is how long you've had your good credit. So why would you cut it up?
Right.
See?
So don't close the cards, folks. If you open them, don't close them.
Just don't use them.
Don't use.
The creditor might close you out for lack of use, but so, you get another one.
Let them do it.
Keep that 15% every month to the good.
Mm-hmm. Fantastic. So good. So I really want people to contact you. So where can they find you? What website? Where do you want me to send folks?
I'll give you my email address.
Okay.
It's ERIC .clay, CLAY, at Operation Hope, one word, operationhope.org. Eric.clay at operationhope.org. And my cell number is, this is work, 213-422-6115.
Fantastic. And this has been great. And I forgot, we always wrap up with these encouraging words, but you've been dropping some gems. But I'm thinking to inspire them to just really develop good credit, that it's important. Can you give some final words of why it's important to establish good credit?
Once again, not who you are as a person, your credit score, but a great credit score opens the doors to whatever you want to do. You can walk into a car dealership in some flip-flops and sweats and walk out with a car with great credit, no money in your pocket. All right. So it's power, but at the same time, it's not who you are as a person. You are who you are. Okay. For me, on the way out, life hit me. I was in the 700s, And then I got into the 500s in my stead here at Operation Hope. So how can I teach credit when I'm in the 500s? Because the mortgage crisis hit in 2008, 2009, 2010, and it affected my whole credit rating. They started dropping my limits, and it was just a hot mess. So I was like, how can I teach this? So what I realized is like, I can teach it because now I'm going through it. Now I know what a bill collector is doing. Now I know what it is to be levied and garnished and all these things. I know that it falls off. Your bad information, challenge information falls off your credit report after 7 years. So it made me teach better, and it made me understand my life is first, credit is second. But that good credit score, y'all, it's going to help. Trust me.
It'll make life a little sweeter. A little sweeter.
Yeah, absolutely. You just walk in, they're looking at you, want that, you want that. They come out, they run your credit, and they come out with donuts. So they didn't give you donuts to begin with.
My goodness. All right.
But this is my opinion. I'm going to say that again. I just want everybody to know you can TikTok, YouTube, AI, Chat GPT, everything that I'm up with that wasn't 20 years ago. I'm looking at it like, wow. So take all the knowledge you have, do your own research, okay? Whatever makes you feel comfortable, but just be aware of things that say open and adding debt to your credit report that doesn't have to be added by itself. If it's going to be on your credit report, it's supposed to be there. If it's not there, it's not supposed to be there.
And so on the campus, they need to go to the financial aid office to ask about student credit cards?
No, they can do online. They can go to Discover. You can go to Discover It, or just student credit card, student Discover card online, Capital One's Discover card online, and fill it out right there. Students come in and do it right there. It takes 5-7 minutes to know if they're approved or not. And I've seen students go from zero credit because they don't have any credit, and their credit scores are popping in at 700, 688. Right? I mean, just all they got to do is fine tune it. Next thing you know, they're in 700s, and that's just amazing.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Well, Mr. Clay, I appreciate you. Thank you so much. This has been great. Fantastic.
I appreciate the opportunity, and we will definitely be doing this again. However you want to do it, I'll definitely come back.
I would love that.
We can deep dive it, and we can however you want to do it. Okay.
Yes.
And everybody out there, I appreciate your time and listening. And once again, get that score. It's never too late to start over or to start right. Revolving debt, in my opinion, is how you're going to raise that credit score quickest.
That's the key. All right. Well, you take care of yourself. I appreciate your time.
All right.
Thank you for joining us. So if you're ready to take control of your credit story, contact Mr. Clay today. For more information about other episodes, be sure to subscribe to the Back to Me podcast, College and Beyond. I'm your host, Yoli Tamu. Leave a review at the end of this podcast. And if you would like to learn more about other special events, join our community on our YouTube channel at the Back to Me podcast, or simply text Back to Me to 833-206-4565. Until next time, be well.